don't know what to say.
Do we ever know what to say?
No. Never.
That's the beauty that is this show. It's why we never have the same set. It's why we never have the same train of thought, which I'm losing right now.
Well, it is late.
Yep. Cut marker.
Can you think of Pixar?
Yeah. Bob?
I don't know. It's definitely late.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey!
Welcome back to Ramblers.
They call us the Ramblers. Yeah, the Ramblers. We ramble on and on and on and on and on.
This is our fourth take on our intro because this is our sixth take on our intro because I'm shy because I haven't been on camera so long. I lost my hair, which is where my secret powers was. I was like Samson.
I'm awkward as normal.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's nice to see some things never change. Unlike our set, but we actually have lighting now, and I kind of know what I'm doing now because I'm actually studying film, which is the coolest thing ever. I'm doing a quick update on my life. I'm just going to go and do this. That's why I haven't been making videos recently. I was homeless for a bit because I was moving, and I ended up switching colleges all over the place, and just a whole bunch of stuff has happened. Semester's over, and it's getting close to Christmas time. In fact, I think we're 10 days away at the point that we're filming this, and guess what just came out? Not that. That's wrong. Colin, what did we watch?
We just watched Rogue One,
Yes,
a Star
we did.
Wars story.
Oh! If you can't tell, I enjoyed it immensely.
You did. You should've
Starting off with expectations, as we always do. I feel like we're like a really cheesy morning talk show host.
I think we are.
Like a morning talk show couple. It's just like, gosh, I love you, Charlene. And then when the camera goes off, it's just like, oh, what? You're cheating on me with your tennis coach? What's wrong with you? That's a psych reference for you diehard fans out there. They actually made 2 episodes of that. Anyway, they redid it. It was very nicely done. I liked what they did with it.
Are we reviewing Psych now?
Yes, why not? It's always great to talk about psych if we can. Anyway, expectations, as we always do before, and we're morning talk show hosts. Moving on. As soon as I heard that this movie was announced, I was excited, mainly because when I first heard of it, I thought it was about an X-Wing squadron, and I heard wrong. But I was still excited about it when I heard the actual plot, and just the more I heard about it, the more excited I got. And when then the cast was announced and the plot, the fact that this wasn't going to be a Jedi or Force-centered movie, that it was going to focus on the rebellion itself and its battle against the Empire, I felt like there was a lot of stuff that the Star Wars universe had to offer that we hadn't seen yet, at least in the movies. I mean, everything we've seen here, we've seen in the comics, we've seen in the books, and the diehard fans are going to go ballistic over all of that, and that's just amazing. I loved everything that went into this movie, and I was super excited beforehand, and every single trailer I saw made me even more excited, and I literally told people that this was going to be my favorite Star Wars movie, that this is the Star Wars movie I'd been waiting for since I was 4 years old, and I first saw A New Hope. Top that!
I did not have as high of expectations. I was excited for it, for sure. I loved every trailer that I saw. Like any movie, though, I try not to get my hopes up too much, just in case it's a disappointment. This was not, it was not a disappointment. I did not love it as much as he did.
I'm well ever not a hater.
Yeah.
That's not true if you watch this show.
Yeah, he is very unpredictable.
When I love things, I love it with a passion.
He never shuts up about them.
I never do. Gallivant, 10 Cloverfield Lane, Black Mirror, Constantine, Chance the Rapper, the list goes on.
Most random things. They have no correlation with each other. I was very excited for it. I was not expecting a super epic movie. I was expecting a really cool, interesting side story to Star Wars.
Which I'd say is exactly what we got here.
I agree.
The characters, I loved all the characters. You said you didn't like them as much.
I didn't like all of them. I definitely loved Felicity Jones' character. She was really cool as Jane Erso. I really liked the captain, the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
K2SO is the droid in the movie, who is voiced by Alan Tudyk.
He stole every scene he was in. He stole the show. He's sarcastic. He's hilarious, but he's still a droid.
One thing Star Wars has always done well, but especially in these new movies, with The Force Awakens, the droids.
Yeah, they've been great. Like, they've kind of been taking up the mantle that is R2-D2, because we all love R2-D2, and we love his personality, and yet with BB-8 and now K2, they each have personalities of their own. They're not like mimicking R2. BB-8 is a little bit, but he still has his own charm. So I think they've been doing a really good job of...
He's much more of a cute character than R2.
They've been making more and more iconic characters in these droids without replacing R2, and I think they've done a very good job of that. Yeah, C-3PO. This one's more of a homage to C-3PO. And again, it doesn't replace him at all.
No, he's very sarcastic, just like...
Very different character types, very different actions, everything, but...
Very different, but you can see the similarities. Yes.
Yeah. There's a character in this film where he almost... you get the impression that he sort of missed his shot with the Jedi Order, where had the Jedi Order still been around, he would have been a Jedi. And he was most certainly a avid follower of the Force.
And he did not have people around him that felt the same way. He was kind of in the minority on
that. But you can tell through combat, just through belief, that he definitely believes strongly in the Force, and it shows.
That's his religion.
I personally love the cast of characters. I just love that you have these different, very competent, but all these very different characters, and you get introductions to each of them. And each of them, especially at the beginning, when they're all separate and then they're forced to come together, they each have their different motivations, and you can see that through their actions. And I thought the fact that they were able to pull that off, where they still are all acting a bit selfishly, up until one point, one particular battle. I say a lot. I apologize for that. Again, back on camera, it's weird. Dang it! They did a very good job of bringing together reasons for, number one, for these cast of characters to come together. There aren't any that are just like on the sidelines, and it's like, where'd these guys show up? I mean, they're cool, but they don't belong. That didn't happen. Everyone felt like they belonged here, and that they were an essential part of this team, and I thought that was very well done. Like Guardians of the Galaxy. That's an example of a team being brought together where they're acting out of selfish reasons, but they
have to come
fit together perfectly, yeah.
But back to the blind guy. I don't know his name, and it makes me sad, but there's a lot of new characters in this movie, and it's hard to remember all their names immediately.
Absolutely.
Anyway, but the blind guy, who is Force sensitive, I really liked him. He was great. My only complaints with there's two more crew members that we haven't talked about. And I'm not going to spoil the
pilot and the gunner.
The pilot and the gunner. The gunner, he was my... Okay.
Well, I felt like he played off of the blind character,
because they were good friends.
Yes, they were almost a character together. Their relationship themselves.
Yeah, I agree. And he just didn't have a lot of time to shine himself, I don't think.
I felt like he did enough, though.
And then the pilot was just kind of there. I know why he was there.
He had redeemable moments for sure.
I agree. He just I would have.
He certainly doesn't stand out.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more of his. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Maybe so. Like I'm not going to spoil anything.
He's not going to be anyone's favorite in this movie for sure. But he's a solid character. I mean, you don't want every character stealing the show every single time. Which, speaking of steal the show, Darth Vader.
Oh my god.
Every moment, which are few.
I don't think that's a spoiler that he's in this movie. That was announced a long time ago.
Just every moment when he is on scene, he absolutely steals the show, which is how it should be with Darth Vader.
He's so menacing. I mean, he was menacing in the originals for sure, but my gosh, he is.
Yes, they did him justice as they should have.
James Earl Jones still has that voice, that amazing. It's such a great voice. It really is. Which if you're in the same room as that guy, you are scared to death.
Which, going into that about being terrified of him, I will say everything that this movie brings in from the original trilogy, which is what it plays off of, it certainly does justice to. Especially with the Empire themselves. One thing that the original movies never really captured, which I didn't realize was missing until now, is how utterly terrifying the Empire is, and this
Yeah.
movie sells it with that. Whether it's with the Star Destroyers and just their size,
The incredible shots, like looking up from the different planets and seeing
Yes.
them above
Absolutely.
you, like the power.
you
that-
really get the scale. There are a lot of shots that are specifically meant to show you the utter scale that is the Death Star specifically, but moreover the entire Empire, and it really puts the fear of the Empire in you.
If you're just a regular civilian or even a rebel and you look up and see that, you're just like, how?
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Like, how are we supposed to fight this?
Yeah.
Or
But then also with like stormtroopers spread throughout the Empire, you didn't get much of a sense of that, except in A New Hope a little bit.
Yeah.
Like in Mos Eisley. But this one, they're just stormtroopers everywhere, and you really get this feeling of hopelessness, especially at the beginning of the movie, with just how massive the Empire is and how they're everywhere. And then later on in the movie, they become stormtroopers and they're cannon fodder. But at the beginning, they're terrifying, and the Empire remains terrifying throughout. We also get a really good, solid villain in this one. He's an admiral in the Empire, and we've had characters like that in the original trilogy, but not villains. And I think they did a very good job of capturing his character type, where he's not overbearing like Darth Vader. For instance, when he's in the presence of Darth Vader is just overpowering compared to him. So they're not trying to replace Darth Vader. It's just another...
he's his lackey, basically. Like,
Yeah.
he's
But-
scared to death of Darth Vader.
But he's good in his own right. He certainly fulfills a great villain role, which is in no small part to the performance of this actor, which I sadly
Yeah.
don't know off the top of my head, but he did a great job. All the acting in this movie was incredibly
I hope to
done.
see more of a lot of this cast. Felicity Jones has been in a few things recently. Inferno, and she's going to be in A Monster Calls. I don't know if that's out. I don't think it's out yet.
No, it's not.
Other than that, I'd love to see more of this cast.
Absolutely. And I mean, of course, you have legends like Forrest Whitaker,
Mhm.
and then again, James Earl Jones reprising his role as the voice of Darth Vader.
And the thing I love the most, other than Darth Vader, I will say, was my favorite part of the movie, and I cannot say what he did or what he said, but my gosh, he stole the show. Anyway, other than Darth Vader, the visuals of this movie are stunning. Everything, like the X. Okay, I will say, I always liked the X-wings. Don't get me wrong, but I really like the X-wings in this movie. They are really cool to see.
I have always loved the X-Wings. They were my favorite part of the original movies, and just any time I can do anything to do with X-Wings.
Oh gosh, it's so cool. The action in this movie is really, really good.
Absolutely. And the direction gets very creative, again, with the X-Wings, where you get camera shots where it's actually on the X-Wing fighter. It makes it feel much more real. And the CGI very much helps capture that, because the CGI is just fantastic.
It really is. I mean, don't get me wrong, the original... I say don't get me wrong a lot, but the original trilogy has a lot of great space fights. Star Wars, I'm sorry. I apologize. But it has a really good space fights in this movie. Are you still mad at my...
Yes, yes, I am.
I'm sorry, it's late.
Should be.
It's very late.
But if you do watch like A New Hope again, the shots, I mean, they were limited by the time, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this movie is very much saying with its fights, hey, we're not limited by that anymore, so we're going to show you all the stuff you didn't get before. And this movie isn't trying to trump the original.
No,
trilogy.
I'm not trying
It is
to.
just a beautiful addition. This movie is a great combination of a lot of things that you love in the original trilogy, where you have the Rebel Alliance, which is great, and this movie doesn't feel the need to introduce characters from those movies. It's just like, hey, we know you've watched Star Wars, so here's the world. We're just going to...
It really doesn't. Like,
show
some
it.
of the characters that you've maybe seen before, they don't, like, introduce them.
If you haven't seen the original trilogy, first off, what's wrong with you? It's a part of society now. Second off, if you haven't, then you're going to be lost in this movie. I'm completely honest
for
with you.
sure.
But
But
it's a Star Wars story, so I think with that they can justify a reason for not having to introduce these characters.
Now, I think you're going, even if you haven't seen any of the Star Wars movies and you went in and saw this, I think you would enjoy it still.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Some of it you would be confused for sure.
But especially with moments with the Council, that is the Rebel Alliance, you would be lost. It never introduces those characters. You just are expected to know who they are. And if you have seen the Star Wars movies, you know them right off the bat. Just they're iconic characters. They're not exactly the biggest characters, but they're certainly iconic. They're certainly memorable. So you won't feel lost because of that. And there's tons of homage to the original trilogy, whether it's in references or in simple actions.
Bridges the gap very well to A New Hope.
Yes.
Like you could watch this movie right before A New Hope and not miss a beat.
But this movie, it has the rebel fights that you love from A New Hope. Really all the movies, I should say. As the depression, I should say, that is in Empire Strikes Back, it really has that sinking feeling again of the fear of the Empire that we didn't get until the Empire Strikes Back.
I mean, A New Hope was this. It was hope. I mean, it was a very bright movie. Empire is a very menacing, scary. I mean, it shows the dark side much more. It shows the Empire.
And this is a beautiful combination of all of it. And then you also get the inspiring rebellion fights against the Empire while there's star battles happening overhead, which this movie I think does one of the best jobs of capturing a battle going on in space and down below. Because you see them directly influence each other, which you don't get a lot in the originals, and I mean there's obvious reasons for that, but like I said, this movie it really hits a lot of moments that you didn't realize were missing from the originals. And again, it's not trumping them. It's just adding things that either you loved or just doing more of what you loved and not doing...
And doing it better but visually, because of course they're not going to be able to do that in the 70s and 80s. But if you can do it now, then add to it.
This movie doesn't really get bogged down by anything that could hold back the originals. It really just goes forward with everything that you love from it. So I think no matter what, if you're a fan of Star Wars, you will certainly enjoy this movie. There's something here for everyone. I don't know if you'll love it like as much as I do.
I didn't personally love it or anything. I mean, I still like some of the originals better than this, but I do enjoy this movie a lot. It's not on the same scale as especially the original trilogy, but just the episodes.
It's not as epic, to be sure.
For sure, it's a really good side story that very well bridges the gap between the two trilogies.
This is a story of war, which there's actually a review on Twitter that's being made fun of because they said this is the only Star Wars movie that really captures war. And everyone's like, it's in the title. It's in the title of all the movies.
It does have a lot of... I will say, it's probably it shows a lot more... I mean, yes...
This is more like down in the trenches.
Yeah, this is like...
Whereas a lot of the other ones have almost religious moments with the Force and with the Jedi. And there's nothing wrong with that, to be sure. The Force Awakens had a lot of it. This is kind of like the antithesis of that.
These are a lot of just normal people fighting for the rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. This is the rebellion. This isn't the Jedi. The Return of the Jedi, which happens throughout all of the movies, or the Jedi Wars that happens in the prequels. This is just the rebellion.
Yeah, you see a lot. I mean, in the originals, you see a lot of, or actually all of them. You see a lot of Jedi and Sith. You see a lot of people who are Force sensitive.
And that's the overarching plot.
These are just a bunch of normal people. I mean, it's really cool.
Especially in The Force Awakens, you get a lot of focus on dark side versus light. And you get that through all the movies, really. And, I mean, I love that. But one thing I will say is that in some moments of all those movies, that slows down the movies a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I love having that in all those movies. It's a breath of fresh air to not have that. And because of that, I feel like the pacing of this movie is very good because of that. It's a bit slow at the beginning, but as soon as you first get to that first fight, it is just a breakneck speed.
I would agree with that.
Afterwards. And I feel like it needed to be slow at the beginning, so then you could last for that just endless stream of beautiful moments.
It is a pretty movie, for sure.
Absolutely. The writing was really good for this movie. Lots of unexpectedly funny moments, again from K2, but also just from...
I have no complaints for the writing.
Really good writing. That's something Star Wars has sometimes been iffy on. Even in The Force Awakens, there were just some moments that, at least to me, were a little cringy. But in this one, just the characters were all fleshed out very well by their actors, and every line was dealt with very well. I just felt like it was
This makes
beautiful.
Because, I mean, you were saying before, I'm very excited for the future of Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Episode 7 was the one where they kind of had to prove themselves, but this they had to prove themselves again.
Yeah, they
like,
had
episode
to prove
7
that
was the...
spin-offs could be a legitimate thing.
After the... Whatever you think about the prequels, I mean, a lot of people did not like the prequels, obviously. So, episode 7 was where they had to say, hey, Star Wars is back.
Yeah.
And this...
Disney is not going to screw
This they
it
had to
up.
prove themselves again, because not only... This isn't an episode. This is the first of many planned spin-offs in the future.
Yeah. This would define every spin-off after this. Whether you like it or not, they will always be associated with this. So that would mean, is the Han Solo spin-off going to be successful? And any ones after that, are they going to be successful? And I would personally say that they absolutely nailed it. I can't think of them doing this movie, this type of movie, for Star Wars any better. Just
Yeah,
the
I would agree
direction,
with that.
effects, the character choices, the plot choice itself. Just everything just came together.
Like I said, a great side story. A really enjoyable side story.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't love that, then, I mean, I don't think that's in any amount of failure of the people who made this movie.
Mm.
It's just the type of Star Wars story. And if you're not into it, if you just are wanting the Jedi and all that, that's fine.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if you just thought this movie was okay, that's fine. I mean, it's kind of more of a taste thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think is why I enjoy this one.
I think anyone can agree that this is a well-made movie.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, just it's on the level of enjoyment. Like,
Mhm.
you've always loved the X-Wing fighters.
Absolutely.
Even more so than the lightsabers. So
Yeah.
I completely understand why you love this movie. Now, me, I've always loved the Jedi and the Sith.
And don't get me wrong,
And
I do
Don't
too.
get me wrong, we say it a lot. But I liked this movie a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Again, it's just personal taste, but I feel like every Star Wars fan will certainly enjoy this film. Will they love it? Can't say. Pure taste. But will you enjoy it? Absolutely. And I can say any Star Wars fan should absolutely see this movie.
Yeah.
You will not regret it. That's it. Pose. Let's do it again. I just wanted to see how
Let's do that. Let's look and then look at each other.
That's creepy. Okay. That is the creepiest thing I've ever done. And it was even creepier because you had your lips like this. So you didn't have teeth, so it was like... You're like a horrifying pterodactyl. Wake up, Naboo, with Colin Budson. Hold it!
I can't. Can't take that seriously.
But, what planet would make it better?
Nothing.
Wake up, Coruscant, with Colin and Budson. Buy your Coruscant crescent rolls today.
Wake up, Ha. Bundle up out there.
Grab a tauntaun and slip on inside. Budson and Colin does not condone the murder of any innocent tauntauns. Don't slip inside anything. Stop.
Okay,
Stop movies
We're done.
before they happen.
We're done. I'm stopping it. We're done.
Wake up, Tatooine. Bundle up out there. Do you not know buttons?